Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to give people just one more minute to join. We had quite a few register tonight, but we'll be starting in just a minute. Hope everybody's trying to stay warm. I can't really say anything being in Sarasota. Don't throw tomatoes at me. So it is 6 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started with some just quick housekeeping items and an introduction of the team. First of all, welcome to the Zones 33-34 Public Image Team's first webinar, virtual event of the year. We're going to have a Rotary intervention tonight and talk to you all about posting boring stuff and share with you some tips and tricks to really get your social media content engaging and get people communicating with you through this channel. First off, my name is Susan Quarter. I'm the Rotary Public Image Coordinator for Zone 34, and also with us this evening is Ashley Waters. She is the Rotary Public Image Coordinator for Zone 33, and we have our teams here as well, and I'll just introduce you guys in the order that you are in my celebrity squares here, and you can give a little wave. We have Joanne Meeker from Zone 34, Kelsey Sola, who's also going to be our speaker tonight from Zone 34, Caroline Blocklinger, Amanda Groover, and Chad Norgard, all from Zone 34. We also have from Zone 33, Chris Stevenson and Hamilton Holloway joining us, so welcome you guys. We're just really fortunate to have such a wonderful team here. We are here to assist you. We're a small team, but a mighty team. So anything we can do to help you along the way with your public image efforts, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll do what we can to assist you. As far as tonight's session goes, we do have breakouts at the end. So we're going to try to hold questions to the breakout sessions. We'll have 3 breakouts. One's going to be on the topic for tonight. So you can join Kelsey and Amanda in that breakout room if you have questions on tonight's content. There's also going to be a breakout room on the Epic Award. So any questions you have covering those monthly tasks, we can address in one of those breakout rooms. And then just a general one, if you have general questions on anything public image related, or you just want to chat with us about any challenges or successes that you've been facing, then please join us in the breakouts after this session concludes. If you do have questions on the content as Kelsey and Amanda go through their slide deck tonight, feel free to drop them in the chat. And if it's something that we can just address by typing a response back, we will certainly do that. We'll try to keep some dropping links and helpful resources in the chat as well as we go along. But we will try to get to all questions by the end of the evening. Please stay on mute throughout the presentation, and in the breakout rooms you can unmute and have that conversation. I do have a couple of quick announcements I'm going to just go ahead and do up front so we can go through our content and get right into the breakout rooms. One really important reminder I want everybody to be aware of is we have a deadline coming up at the end of this month for the December task. So if you haven't given us your feedback, and I want to thank all of you who have, because we have gotten some really great feedback on that December task for the Epic Award, where we ask what our team is doing well, what can we do better, what webinar topics do you want to learn about. So really appreciate that feedback you guys are giving us. And then all of the tasks for the remainder of the year are now open. So January, February, March, and April, all of those tasks are open, but they need to be done, completed, and submitted online by the end of April. So you can go to that website right there, Rotary Zones 3334.org, find the Epic Award criteria. There are links, hyperlinks on each month where you can complete the task December through the rest of the Rotary year. You can also check your status to see what task your club has completed and where you're lacking so that you can get caught up. If you have any trouble or have any questions, again, please don't hesitate to reach out. And then just a couple of announcements. We have a few events coming up over the next month or so. This is the Public Image Team's next virtual event. It's going to be held in February, always on the 4th Tuesday, and we're going to talk about storytelling meets tech. If you haven't seen the Rotary Wrap video, you can find it on our website or our Vimeo channels, YouTube channel. It's a really cool Rotary Wrap where we have some AI integration and just really tell a story about Rotary. But we're going to give you a behind the scenes look at that video. It's a really fun video, and we used a lot of cool AI tools and other resources to create that video. We had a really just a really fun time doing that with the team who was creating it there. If someone can actually paste that. Actually, I can paste the link to the video, and if someone can grab the Epic task and paste that in the chat, we're looking for a link to the Epic task. So join us in February for our next public image virtual event. And the other zone teams, coordinator teams, membership and foundation have some coming up. So we have a MAP webinar coming up. Those are monthly as well on February 9th. We also have another MAP webinar coming up, a second one this month. On the next slide, you'll see on February 14th. So the MAP Lounge, where you can join kind of an open conversation. And then just Foundation Matters. We have a monthly Foundation Matters virtual event every month. You can register for all of these at rotaryzones3334.org. Thanks again, everyone, for being here tonight, and I will turn it over to our incoming Rotary Public Image Coordinator, Kelsey.
Hey, everyone. Amanda and I are so excited to kind of share some things with you today. We're going to talk about some exciting things that we can be posting on some of our social media pages. So to kick us off, the first thing was that we would like to make Rotary go viral on purpose. So at its very simplest form, going viral is essentially a word of mouth at scale. So instead of one person telling a story about something, that person shares a link. And instead, that link is seen by hundreds of people who then share it with thousands of people, creating a huge growth curve. Content actually very rarely goes viral on accident, which is something that people probably assume. It usually triggers a very specific feeling or thought inside of somebody to hit that share button or to comment or engage with the post. So when we're talking about trying to make something go viral on purpose, when we post things, we want to actually create posts and content that give you a high amount of emotion. That's the most critical thing that we can post. Content that makes us feel passive, maybe sad or content, usually that stuff rarely goes viral. Content that makes us feel alert, either excited, angry, maybe it makes us laugh or it shocks us. Those are the things that typically will spread like wildfire. We also share things that make us look good. So sometimes when we post something, somebody might share it because they might think it makes them look good. If a video is smart and it makes people look that way, they might also share it to look smart. If it's funny, they might share it to make people think that they have a good sense of humor. So understanding kind of that social currency is another factor when we're thinking about how we're posting things. The other options are we want to create something that's relatable or something that creates an identity or a brand that other people can relate to. So memes often go viral because they provoke a reaction. This is how I feel about something, or I didn't have the words necessarily to say what I was thinking, but this is exactly what I was thinking. So let's think about, as we go through this presentation, let's think about the content that we find exciting, right? When you're looking on your social media feeds, what do you think about? And then think about the videos that you're watching and the things that you're engaging with. And if you are really, really interested, think about the last post that made you think this is a viral post. I can tell you, I have a post from a few years ago where I accidentally flipped off of a unicorn float into a pool. And that post tends to reoccur every year on the same date. People share it again and they think it's funny and they laugh. So think about those things that people can relate to. So as we're talking about posting, there's really a couple things that people do in terms of making mistakes. Sometimes people make posts with actually zero captions. In my mind, there's only two reasons why you should ever post without a caption, and that's if you're like a celebrity and it's a power move. It's something that signifies confidence and there's no caption needed. Or if you're trying to be a little bit mysterious, maybe, you're posting something of a speaker and you want everybody to guess who that speaker is. Those are the only times you really should post without any caption. But when you do add a caption, it actually drives higher engagement. So it helps your algorithms and it provides context and storytelling. And it also helps build community and vulnerability. It helps people understand a little bit more context of what you're posting. And then, of course, on the back end, it helps with discoverability and SEO and some of the technical things. So posting without a caption is oftentimes like handing someone a book with a beautiful cover, but with blank pages on the inside. So a well thought out caption really does help transform an image into a conversation.
All right. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what worked well in 2025 in social media. Essentially, there's several things that people stopped doing in 2025, and that was performing for the camera. So the goal, and what you'll see as a theme, is that everyone really stopped trying to be something they were and just started trying to connecting to their audience. And so just a few things that to think about as we move through these slides is we saw a lot of human first stories or human first posts that really connected with audiences this year. There was a lot less corporate language, more real voices, posts that felt like a volunteer or leader was talking directly to the audience that outperformed just polished marketing copy, right? People want to know that you're authentic and real and trying to speak to them directly. Second, stories beat posts. So if you're on Facebook or Instagram, there are story modes or little short videos that people post that are that are shorter, little shorter snippets that really outperformed your standard static post on your page this year. Those little stories tend to feel casual. There's a lot of behind the scenes content and a lot of things that people captured that were in the moment to share instead of stuff that was planned out well in advance and had a lot of production value, I guess, behind it. And a lot of people resonated or connected with people feeling like it was right there and they could relate to all the stuff that happens behind the scenes before you ever get to your big fundraiser or your big event. Third, real versus perfect was very much on trend in 2025. People know that you are not, as a Rotary Club president or as a district leader or as just a club, no one expects you to be a professional actor. No one thinks that you have all of this camera content or live lights or setting that you're setting up all these productions. Just be real and authentic. And I think people connect with you a lot better to know that you're probably not comfortable on camera. Well, newsflash, no one sitting across the top of your screen right now is comfortable on camera either. We just do it and get used to it and know that it's part of who we are. So be comfortable being messy, be comfortable making mistakes, be comfortable realizing that it may not be your best light, but people understand that and can connect with it anyways. And then finally, video beat text every single day. So not just high production commercials, some were just someone speaking or little quick clips or an event moment. Like Kelsey said, falling off a float will probably get reaction all day, every day. So hearing a voice created connection is faster than typing out some great revised chat GPT version of a paragraph 500 times. So just remember that. So the biggest takeaways for 2025 is the accounts that grew the most were the accounts that were real in the moment, use video, and were authentic. And that's things that we should consider along the way.
So we'll take a look at some things that worked this past year. They're good because they're human first, right? So we look at this ones of Larry, right? Why did this post go viral? Why did so many people comment? Because the guy's a likable guy and he got a big promotion. They were happy for him, right? They were excited for him. Looking at the end polio now, using a captivating graphic that grabs our attention along with the facts that show the impact, right? So it really helps tell a good story. And then, lastly, the video that we're going to go behind the scenes on next month. This is actually a post that Jennifer Jones, who's an influential leader, used of this video. The thing that I like about this is that Jennifer Jones actually she didn't create the content, but she created a post and made it original. So she downloaded the video and uploaded it. Instead of sharing it, she did that because she knows the analytics behind her page. And she knew that it would get more engagement if she posted it as a unique post versus as a shared post. And I think that's something that really shows all of us. You have to understand what works on your page and what doesn't, and make sure that you're posting content how it works, right? So some of the things that may be missed this year is 15 people standing in a straight line and not really doing anything other than smiling. Maybe a giant check with no context, or the one that I feel like happens all the time, which is a flyer posted as a photo, or maybe 3 paragraphs of something that is just too much information that people don't read. Or on the flip side, just a simple caption that says "Great meeting today" with no context or no other information that people can relate to. Those are some of the things that I think are common mistakes that we tend to post quite often.
And so as we look at a breakdown of content that's out there and what has resonated, 70% of it is just content that provides value to people. 20% of it is personality, and the other 10 is ask, right? So when you're talking about this kind of content, really what we're looking at is what's in it for me? What's the thought process that helps get people's attention? Like, who are you speaking to? What value are you bringing to the table? What are you giving them? Are you entertaining them? Are you giving them something to care about? And so as we move forward into thinking about social media content that resonates, we really want to give them value at the end of the day. So behind the scenes of real impact, right? So educational mini reels, things that talk about how you do things, what the process is, how this fundraiser became successful, what goes into making a club meeting. Like, give them some actual value in your content. Pull the curtain back. What's planning a service project really look like, right? What does the moment before volunteers arrive? Share that kind of content. A walkthrough of how donations are sorted, packed, and delivered. The messy, funny, chaotic prep work that goes into your local 5K. Think about the things that are maybe not the shiny goals or the certificates or the pages, but the actual prep of the project or the cleanup at the end of the day. Small wins that give big feelings and value add. If you give them transparency, you're going to build trust in your community, right? So show them what goes into it. Show them the real behind the scenes. Don't sugarcoat the process, and think about how your club or your district can make those transitions and what you're sharing on social media. Quick educational mini reels are great because they teach something your community didn't know. 3 things Rotary does globally that might surprise you as an example. What your donation actually funds. Things that give them an idea of the value that Rotary brings to the local community. Youth and family content. Impact stories told by one person. If you get high engagement, content engagement, usually for youth, it's an Interact or a Rotaract Spotlight. It's youth volunteers in action. It's showing the impact of families serving together with Interacts on the side of the road, picking up trash or whatever it is your local Interact clubs do. Get Interactors and Rotaractors, or maybe your club has an early act group to explain what Rotary is in their own words. And sometimes, I mean, how many of y'all get stuck on cute kid content? Because I know I do all the time. So that's something that you can add to your repertoire of videos or social media that you're posting. And then one of the things that I like, and probably is my favorite, is explaining something through one person instead of "we helped 400 people." So find somebody that your grant project helped. Find somebody that your local club benefited from, and show one person in one quote, such as "Meet Maria. She now has access to clean water, and here's what she said about it." Or "This is Jamal. He read his first full book this week, thanks to our literacy program." Talk about the actual value and the people that you touch. Tips and advice posts. Some examples of that are things like 3 ways anyone can serve in under 10 minutes today. Your advice doesn't have to necessarily be just for Rotarians. It can be for your entire community. So think of different ways that you can provide community value. How to volunteer as a family in your local community is an idea. What do we do when disaster hits our area? Small kindness that make a big impact. We could list a whole bunch of different examples, but those are different types of tips and advice posts that you can share. And then other Rotary knowledge nuggets, day in the life videos. So think about things like 5 things you didn't know about Rotary Youth Exchange. Share that with your local community, particularly with communities that have students in high school, right? Because you don't have to be a Rotarian to have a kid in Rotary Youth Exchange. Why Rotary? Something like why Rotarians sing the four-way test sometimes. I'd love to hear feedback from lots of people about why they do that and why they continue to do that. But that's just a little knowledge of nuggets that we can share. Leadership lessons from Rotarians. Conflict resolution tips, networking skills, event planning hacks, community building activities. There's lots of things that we can share as Rotarians that are great life lessons for people that don't come to our meetings, but it gets them engaged and understanding that Rotary has a lot more to offer than lunch every Tuesday at 12.
But the lunch is good. So the other thing I will say is we really want to give them our personality, right? There's value and there's also personality. We as Rotarians have a lot of fun doing Rotary, right? We have a lot of fun going to events. We have a lot of fun hosting fundraisers and doing service projects. And we really want people to get to know us for who we are. So understanding that there are some fun things that we can put on our page too, right? So we talked a little bit, maybe meet the member reels, talk a little bit about our members, our club traditions. There are so many clubs that have very unique traditions, and helping highlight some of the traditions that we have as clubs is really fun. Rotary memes are just always a good time. There's always something fun. I like the birthday toast, thing we have here. It's something stupid, it's something silly, but you know what? It makes people feel something. It's fun, right? Doing some fun facts for some of our members or some of our things we have going on. When we're talking about member reels or member spotlights, make it fun and interesting. Not necessarily just like, this is John. Maybe it's, this is John, and this is why John joined Rotary, and this is something unique about him. This is the project that changed his mindset about Rotary. A moment in service I'll never forget. Think about as we're doing those things, what is the human connection? People join because of other people, right? So how can we connect to them even through the internet? Community spotlights, highlighting that others do good as well, not just us as Rotarians, but others are out there with the heart of a Rotarian. Those are the people that we're looking for. So spotlighting those people, helping a partner maybe who stands out in what they're doing, or a small business that gives back, or a community hero of the week. Something along those lines, right? Because the value add in those posts, yes, they're fun, they give personality, but also they build relationships and they build goodwill across our community. So it'll really boost the engagement, and it'll also boost it because they'll, of course, share it as well.
So when we start actually posting in that final 10% of asking people to do things for us, we want to think of this section as the moment your favorite influencer says link in bio, right? Except you're the influencer now. So what is it that we want them to do? Ask your audience to do something very specific. It could be that your mission matters, so don't be shy about the invitation. This is where 10% say something like join us, donate today, come be a part of the magic. We basically want you to say, what are you trying to get them to do? Are you asking them to donate to the Rotary Foundation? Then ask them to donate now. Are you asking them to join your club for a monthly meeting? Then ask them to join us. Are you asking them something about like, hey, we'd really like for you to come out and support our pancake fundraiser? Then ask them to do that and tell them how they can sign up and be a part of. It's not hard to ask people to do something. We just have to realize that we don't need to be shy about the things Rotary's doing. We're doing great things and great work. We just get real hesitant sometimes about asking them specifically to donate, to join, to attend. And we need to get past that and just say, hey, here's our post. Here's what we're talking about. Why don't you come be a part of the magic of Rotary?
I feel like it's important to remember too that people want to be invited. They like being invited to go to different events and to participate in things. I mean, it's something that they genuinely care about and they genuinely want. So we shouldn't be afraid to do that. So we've talked, a little bit about video and how those typically, and at least this last year, have performed better. So we're going to talk a little bit about some short form video and, some other things that work, right? People sometimes have small or tiny attention spans. So if you can grab their attention in like the first 3 seconds of your video, you're doing well. If you can't, sometimes they've kind of scrolled on and they've moved, to the next thing. But short form video, in my opinion, is basically built for Rotary. There's a lot of really cool things that we can do. Short form video works. It gets like 3 to 5 times more reach than actual just static photos. It's fast, it has to be real, and it has to be relatable. It's perfect for the behind the scenes moments, the real moments that happen. Think about like the club meetings and how sometimes the club president is like scrambling in the very beginning to kind of get some things done. That's super relatable, right? Understanding that it takes an army sometimes to put on these Rotary meetings that we have and certainly the events and things that we have, and that's relatable. But giving people those real moments will build trust. Instagram and Facebook both prioritized video in 2025. And really, if you think about it, you're only making like a 10-second video. So it's really not that difficult. I feel like it is the secret weapon that Rotary just isn't really using yet, but we all have access to it. So understanding that as we're creating videos, we really need to capture people's attention. So we need a hook that makes people stop scrolling. Here's what you don't see at Rotary meetings, maybe, or this is the moment that changed everything, my entire perspective. Or maybe it's a 10-second story that will restore your faith in people. This is what impact really looks like, right? Several options for you to choose from, something to kind of get that inspired, but showing them behind the curtain of what Rotary does, it makes it so that they can't look away. We all watched Marshall's video, and I'm excited to see next month's webinar. But now understanding what behind the curtain looks like and creating that video, it's exciting.
So now we're going to talk about Rotary reels that anyone can make, right? It's not a secret, and there's plenty of things that you can do, even at the basic level, if you're not used to videos at all. And so some of the things that you can think about is 3 things we're doing we're doing this week. You can do a time lapse of a service project, day in the life of a Rotarian, a half selfie challenge. Did you know Rotary? Things presidents say. You can do voiceover recaps. You can use there's plenty of trend remixes out there that are templates that you can take advantage of. You could do a comedy bit of things like things Rotary presidents say and make it hilarious. Just things that, we have a tendency as Rotarians to have all of these Rotary terms that people may or may not know. So maybe you want to explain some of the things that we have a tendency to say that are just complete acronyms to the outside world. Before and after of service projects, first person point of view at an event, and just use natural lighting, keep your clips short, add captions, and just know that to get a video to go viral, it's not something usually that's really super planned out. It's just small little things that you can put together in video format on pretty much any video platform that you are used to using. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment.
I will say too, my kids all love closed captions. Whenever they watch videos, they will watch it with the closed captions. I never really understood why they liked this, but to be honest, for Rotary, it's kind of cool because you have the ability to use it for different languages and for people overseas too. So something to think about.
And if you want to create better engagement with your posts, there's 4 things that you can really think about that are pretty simple that you can get better increased engagement on your platforms. The first one is caption this. Post a fun, interesting, or slightly funny video and ask your audience to provide captions for you. If it's someone in your club doing something, then people that know that person are going to have a lot better opportunity to caption that. But if you're trying to just get a broader audience, maybe it's of your service project. Maybe it's somebody doing something funny in a Christmas parade. I don't know, but just try to get people to caption those responses. Second, Q&A. Use question boxes, comments, or stories, and ask people to ask you questions, right? It could be about your organization, your mission. Maybe you want to put something out there that says, ask us anything. Maybe you want to say, tell us what you ask them questions about Rotary is all about. Anything that you can think of out there to get them to ask you questions about your organization so that you have a chance to answer. Polls for ideas. Maybe you want to poll your community about service projects that your community really needs that you haven't thought about. Maybe you want to poll your members about their favorite food items. I don't know. There's plenty of things you can ask people for and get responses back on your social media or your social posts that kind of give you the opportunity to get engagement and response. And fourth, tag someone, right? And I don't mean just tag your Rotary Club in a post. I mean, tag a friend who needs to come to this event. Tag a person who you want to invite to your next Rotary meeting. Tag an organization that you could partner with or that you're partnering with in the event. That gets you a lot more engagement with your community. The bottom line behind all of this is that engagement grows when people feel included. So try to include as many people in your community as possible when you're posting.
So sometimes we see on social media a bunch of social media challenges. So these are some ideas and things that maybe we can do to help create that. Everybody likes a little friendly competition. I feel like that equals instant engagement. So looking at first maybe a challenge of acts of kindness. I know I've seen a bunch of people do this in the past and it's really cool, right? A challenge of kindness actually turns everyday moments of good into something that an entire community or entire group can feel. So it's pretty special when you actually see something like that take off. So I'd highly encourage you guys to try something like that. Pick a special hashtag or some way for you to keep track of what's going on and what you can share with people. But that's really a fun opportunity, and it's pretty easy to get started with some of the club members that you have. Pick a myth about the Rotary Foundation and bust it with just one fact. Keep it a little short. Make sure it's not short and sweet when you do something like that. Post as a graphic, a reel, or a story. Tag your club. Use a challenge hashtag and challenge another Rotarian or another club in your district or other districts to go next. That way you're kind of continuing on and encouraging other people to participate. Some examples of, myths that you could bust about the Rotary Foundation. Maybe my donation is too small to matter. The foundation only funds international projects. It takes forever for donations to make an impact. Only big clubs benefit from foundation grants. It's complicated to understand where the money goes. It doesn't affect the local communities. Maybe some of those things you can use. There's tons and tons of options, but some of those things that you can use. And then also something that's really fun is guess the Rotarian. Understanding your audience in all of these is obviously really important, but do you think you know your fellow Rotarians? Posting some baby pictures or some fun pictures and then making all of your members hunt down to try to figure out who it is. Again, it's just like a fun way to get people to engage. But all of these things, you have to understand who is your audience in these posts and make sure you're kind of gearing it towards them.
All right, so here it is. These next 3 slides are, the ones that you screenshot before you get the webinar recording. So here are your basic, easy video ideas. This week in Rotary, one Rotary, one question. So find a Rotarian, ask them a question. It could be a question about Rotary. It could be a question about their favorite meeting. It could be their Rotary why. It could literally be what's their favorite place to eat around town. It doesn't really have to be a Rotary question. Just do a one Rotarian, one question series. 10-second guest speaker intros, before, during, after, service projects, fundraisers, the meeting itself. New member intros, did you knows, Rotary myth busting, countdown videos. Here's our top list of easy video ideas. And over here on the side, the video that was playing literally is just a 20-second reel that I did out of a template on Canva. It was not that hard. I could do real easy and put the top 3 things for the week. So, and none of the content was something I videotaped. It was all stuff that I could find that was pre-created video for me to use. So there's your easy video ideas for you to jot down right now. Next, Kelsey. Tools to use. What tools are we using so you're like, these videos are great. We have no idea. There is a million tools out there to use. I'm not going to champion any of these specifically, but I am going to say CapCut, VNVideoEditor, InShot, Canva Video, Clipchamp, Adobe Express, YouTube Create, Instagram Reels, TikTok Editor, and Teleprompter. These all have free access and templates. So you don't have to have a Canva Pro account or have to have a Moho account. Find what works for you. And it may be that you're already on Instagram, so that's where you feel most comfortable creating your videos. You can create them there and share them across your platforms.
The biggest thing is to use something and use it consistently, get to know it. You're not going to break these tools. Understand that it is kind of trial and error when you're first getting started with some of these tools.
And then finally, the method. Like if you use this, if you're overwhelmed by the thought of creating videos, then just use this formula. Clip of people, on-screen text, smiling faces, Rotary logo at the end. It's that simple. If you just keep that one basic process every time you create your video, wherever it's at, you're going to be successful in what you post.
So, and lastly, we talk about this, but Rotary has heart, it has humor, and we have impact. We do not need to reinvent Rotary. We really just need to show people who we are. It's so important for people to understand what Rotary is and what Rotary does. And the way that they understand it is by understanding us and relating to us. We have some absolutely incredible people within our organization, and the world deserves to know who we are and the hearts that we have for service. So, being authentic is the most important thing you can do, helping people relate to us, helping people connect and feel something when they see our content. Every time we post something, we got to keep in the back of our minds, what is the emotion that we would like to draw out of the individuals as we post this? Do we want to make them laugh? Do we want to make them cry, right? There are times where we may want to make people cry so that they donate, right? But mostly we want to make them feel something, and we want to make them feel something with conviction so that they share, they engage in the content, and that truly they join us in the revolution that we are starting. So that's it. That's the content. And now this is the part where you ask the questions that you were hoping somebody else would ask first. So if anybody has any questions, we can take 1 or 2 questions here if there are any, but we'll go out into the breakout rooms as well. Since I don't see any that haven't been answered already in the chat box, why don't we go ahead and go into the breakout rooms? Oh, somebody said, how important is consistency? It's super important to be consistent when you're posting on your pages. Um, the algorithm pays attention to how much you post, and it also pays attention to how much you interact with other people's posts. So I say this all the time, when you're posting, maybe it's on your club page, as the club page, you also want to interact with other people. So, right, don't post in ghost. You want to make sure that you're posting something and then you're interacting with other pages as well. It's super important to do that. And being consistent about how often you post is important too. I like to post and then interact. And then a couple days, or a day, depending upon which content I want to put out there, I'll post again and then I'll interact. I never just post and then leave the app automatically, right? Because I feel like it's like asking for my content to go nowhere. So I always interact after I post something. Somebody asked the best way to get new followers. I'm a big fan of asking our club members to invite people to our pages, and also, interacting with the content that we're posting as we do it. So we talked a little bit about maybe you have an event, right? And you posted about your event. Tag somebody that you want to bring to the event with you, and then invite that person to like your page as well. Amanda, do you have any things on either one of those that you want to add?
No, I mean, I think you just shared it, but I will also say we're talking in generals for social media today. And so, and we don't have time to do individual posts on every single platform, but I think sometimes with tagging, it depends on the platform you're in and how you're using it. So just try to use best practices when it comes to tagging based on what platform that you're using to share your content.
Mm-hmm. And Chris mentioned that the number will be small at the beginning and it will build, especially if you're consistent. That's absolutely right. Absolutely. How many times a week should you post items? I prefer to post at least 4 times a week. I will say that on some pages, maybe not in Rotary, but on some pages, you should probably post every single day because it gives you more content. It gives you more algorithm for people to interact with. But I personally post about 4 times a week.
And I would agree with that. I think my advice to clubs usually is to try to post 3 times a week, especially for clubs that already feel like they're overwhelmed with things, to just try to be consistent and use that 3 as a generalized tool, because I think it's very unrealistic for some clubs to expect someone to post 7 times a week. So just kind of keep that in mind.
And you can always schedule out your posts if you are going to do that too. Certainly, that's a good way. I agree. It's hard to post every single day. Somebody asked about templates for upcoming speakers. I don't know if you've heard about Canva, but it's free and there's like thousands of templates for you to choose from. But I really am a big fan of Canva because you can go in there and it's pretty easy to use some templates, drop in one picture and edit that and post it there. All right, well, I'll say let's go ahead and break out into the different breakout rooms. We have 3 rooms. One is the Epic Awards, 2 is the Public Image Ask Me Anything, and 3 would be the social media, anything following up from this content today. We'll talk to you guys in the breakout rooms.